We're back with the College Docs, Dr. Amanda Sterk and
Dr. Ruzicka here. It is September 22nd, and we are really into fall up here in South Carolina.
yeah, no, we felt down here in Florida, the air kind of cut just a little bit the other day, which is great. But you know what fall means? It's time for college admissions. And I know we are both in the thick of things with our seniors and our juniors and coming up. And I know kind of in our discussions, we've been talking a lot about resumes because that was our last topic for our underclassmen. We were discussing resumes, how to build your resume, and then with seniors, how to write your resume. So, Jessica, what do you think is like the biggest issue kids are facing today about creating a resume that helps them in college admissions?
Absolutely. I think a lot of times is they're not really quite sure what to put down on the resume, because they might correlate it to a job, right? But what college resumes are more geared towards are where have you spent your time outside of school, right? So are you in the community? Do you have a part-time job? That looks great on a resume. What clubs, organizations, activities, athletics, leadership type things. So it's not necessarily a paid job that has to go on the resume, but anything where you've done extracurricular, non-academic things outside of school. So I think that sometimes is a confusion, is they're not sure where to start, right?
Yeah, and I think, I have a junior, and one of my things for her to do was supposed to be over the summer was to write her resume. And so finally she sent it to me. And being the mother and the college admissions person, I'm like, well, where are these activities? Like, I know that she's doing XYZ activities. There's an internship, and then there was a special class where she's doing Model United Nations, and she has this trip to Harvard. And I'm like, where are those on your resume? So I was really shocked with my own kid, didn't know to put some of those extracurriculars. And so why do you think kids maybe leave them off?
I think it's just so natural for them, probably, that they just know that they're involved in it. And I think sometimes too, just reminding the students, I remind them, who is your audience, right? Who is going to be looking at this? It's not someone in your circle. It's not mom, dad, teacher, friend, aunt, uncle. It's someone that doesn't know you. And so we need to really inform them of all the things that you've done. And so this is a great opportunity to do that. So I think sometimes we forget who the audience is, and forget that the admissions counselor has thousands of applications coming across their desk every day. And so I think that might be possibly one of the reasons. I don't know. We would love to hear from some students too. Like, I think, right, is probably what she would
But
say.
I agree with you. I think they just kind of know automatically, and then they think that people can just fill in the pieces. Like a lot of times I'll see kids write like acronyms, and I'm like, I don't know what this club is. I don't know what CCBLG. What does that mean? Like, what did you do? And so part of it is you really have to always approach it that I don't know you. You're just a piece of paper to me, and you have to tell your story. And even more than that, like I like specifics within the resume. Like if you expanded the social media because you're the social media marketing person for your club, how much did you expand it? How many posts did you have? What was sort of your leadership role? And so really kind of using your space to really tell your story. And if, I mean, you only get 150 characters when you do your Common App, but how do you tell your story very quickly and succinctly is really important.
It sure is. And a quick side note, I met with a student this week who she forgot that she has like this online business, this crocheting online business. And she was like, should I put that? I was like, yeah, like that's where, yes, absolutely. So again, I think that just reminding them that these are all very important pieces of information for the admissions counselors to know about you is critical.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things I know with our starter pack and our classes that we do, we've been talking a lot about resumes, and we really suggest that families and students start with their resume early as ninth grade. Because I can't tell you how many seniors were in the thick of things and they completely forget that they have done, like you said, with the business, like they have done 2 years of mock trial, or you have done this, like all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I did that. So if you can keep track, but also analyzing, where is my time being spent? Am I doing a lot of volunteer? Am I doing a lot of academic clubs? Like, sort of, what is my resume telling me? So, what are some tips that you would have for families in analyzing a kid's resume right now?
Well, right. And just kind of to piggyback again on the starter pack, we have in there that really great tool, the template for the resume. So students can have this document
Mhm.
already pretty much formatted, and all they need to do is keep track of the activities in there. So that's really helpful, I think, and they can just save that somewhere that's on their desktop or wherever, and just add to it. So yes, where am I spending my time, and is that an efficient use of my time?
Mhm.
And like you said, I think it's a good activity for the families to go in and kind of say, okay, because Amanda, we have those who want to be involved in 25 different things, and then we have others who it's hard to get them to really be involved in more than one, right? And so where's that balance for you and your student, as far as the parents and the families, because every situation is different, right? So and also kind of taking a look at, do my activities line up with what I want to pursue in college?
Mhm.
um, so that's a good one too, I think, as far as the analyzing goes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I can look at, there's been a lot of times I've looked at a resume as a senior and I'm like, I can't figure out what your major is. Like, I can't really figure out what your passions are. They're sort of all over the place. And so part of it, again, admissions doesn't know you. So you have to tell that story. And even if it's something like, let's say you're really into theater, but you're going to be a business major, that's okay. But there are certain words and key things that you can sort of bring out that sort of business aspect. And so I just think that kids don't really think about, what does this piece of paper say about me?
And it reminds me of kind of like a dot to dot, like connecting the dots, right? That's kind of what we do in our line of work, is help the students connect the dots between the essay, the resume, the application, the transcript, the test scores, the choosing the major. So that kind of puts the whole picture into perspective. So
Yeah. And
that's
then also using, right now, all the college documents, right? So how do we use your essay space? How do we use your supplemental space? And I was working with a student and she has a lot of supplementals. She's doing highly selective schools. And she kept not reusing some of the stories. And I'm like, remember, your supplementals are just going to like one particular college. So it feels like you're repeating yourself, but they're only getting it once. So you make sure that where your highlights are, you're actually highlighting those things within your application is important.
right, exactly. And that's okay to,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay.
It really is. And, I just think that, like you're talking with that template for the resume template, we also align that with the Common App. So we're actually, when we start working with students as early as ninth and 10th grade, we're actually already starting to write a student's application, which is awesome, which is half the battle, right?
So much easier for them when they actually get to the point of filling in the common application. They go to that and they just pretty much transfer the information right over. So yeah, so that's what we like to do, is make the process much more smooth by the
Yeah.
time coming out.
And so I'll just kind of say, on the resume that we have, we always like an objective, right? So sort of, what is your goal, your career goal, maybe as particular schools. And that's going to be really useful, because your resume, not only for your application, can be used for scholarship applications, it can be used for different programs, internships, whatever, and having that ready. So I like an objective right at the top. What do you want to do? You want to add something? Okay. And then I like to like maybe a few highlights at the top, like kind of a summary of some of the key skills, like if you speak 4 languages or if you are getting an AP scholar. I also like an education section. What's your class rank, your weighted GPA, your high school? Is it a special program like a magnet school, a STEM school, IB, AP, whatever? And then I like doing the activity section and then listing what you're doing. Oh, my dog's growling. Sorry.
And one last point too to the resume is I think it's really helpful then when you students ask their teachers to write letters of recommendation. It's another already pretty much created document at that point that they can hand to their teacher and say, here's some more information for, I'd be honored if you were to write me a letter of recommendation, and here's some information to go from. So you can use it in so many different avenues, right? It's really helpful.
And some schools actually allow you and want you to upload a more formal resume. And so having that little bit longer descriptions, a little bit more detailed, because unfortunately the Common App, like we were saying, that you only have so many characters you can use, but that if they do allow you to upload, it's a lot. You can be more succinct, more information, and really kind of delve into all the activities somebody's in.
Yes. So
Awesome.
yeah, awesome.
That's it. I know. It's such, I mean, I just think the resume, I mean, obviously we could probably talk about it for hours, right? Because I think it is such a vital foundational key to everything. And I know whenever I work with a student, that's the first thing I do because I want to get to know them. And again, and just really listen, have the parents involved. It's one of those activities I say, mom and dad, come and talk about it and make sure you write down, and things that they're also looking for in a resume, your longevity, how much time did you spend in it? So keeping track of your hours in some of those programs, is really helpful.
Really helpful. And keeping track too of any awards that you've received throughout the years. It could be academic, athletic, whatever. Like think of end of the year award ceremonies. And because again, a lot of times if we start working with seniors their senior year, some of this information has gotten lost over the last few years. So if you keep track of it as you go, it makes it so much easier for you. So.
And realize it's always evolving. Like I have a student who just found out he's a national merit finalist. And so he's super excited. He's a method kid and he did tutoring with Evan and got a great score, obviously, and just found out he's one of the finalists. I think only the one in his entire school. And he's just such a great kid. And so, mom's like, well, how do I update that in the application? Like, okay, well, let's update this here and let's do that. And so we know that things are evolving. Maybe you've got a president position in a club or you won that award. And so until you hit submit, you're able to update that information and get that going. But keeping track is always beneficial. So what I know, I have a blog I'm going to get sent out about the resume. And why don't we, Jessica, why don't we show them our template for the resume? I think we need to share that with our people and we can at least see it and show an example. And that way they can at least use that. And we're happy to go over anybody's resume with them and let them know ways to focus and analyze that and what we can do to, guarantee more admissions and scholarships come your way.
So if you would like that, just feel free to email us. My email is jessica@methodlearning.com. And
I'm Amanda at methodlearning.com. Pretty easy. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, Miss Jessica, it's a pleasure as always. And we will talk to you all soon. Contact us if you have any questions.
All right. Bye.